Hey, how's it going? It's your favorite bald tech YouTuber back once again to talk about more GPU stuff. I only mentioned the bald thing because you keep mentioning it in the comment section. Kind of weird, but I'll go with it. Drop a comment about me being bald. Now, I logged on to YouTube today, and of course, my feed was flooded with multiple videos from other tech YouTubers talking about how the 7800 XT would be dead on arrival, or DOA. And meanwhile, I'm over here thinking, arrival? I don't think it's going to arrive at all. I don't think they're going to launch a 7800 XT. Please pay attention to that question mark at the end of the title. I'm not definitively saying that the 7800 XT does not exist or it will never exist. How could I possibly know that? I don't work for AMD. I have no type of insider information whatsoever. I can't even get a review unit. Trust me, I've tried. But I do think we can start to look at the circumstantial evidence and start putting pieces of the puzzle together and say, you know what? It kind of doesn't make sense for AMD to even drop a 7800 XT. And let me explain why. So, okay. First and foremost, we have to look at the market, right? AMD launched with a 7900 XTX and a 7900 XT. First of all, that was their very first mistake. Terrible naming convention, very confusing, doesn't make sense, easy to mix up XT and XTX. Honestly, it should have just been the 7900 XT and the 7800 XT. The current 7900 XT should have been called a 7800 XT, and it should have cost $100 less than the original $900 MSRP. And as you can see, AMD finally came around to that, and they actually lowered the MSRP of that card to $799. However, they did not change the name of the card because at that point it was too late. Basically, we have another Nvidia situation with a 4080 16GB versus the 4080 12GB model, where the 4080 12GB model was eventually renamed to the 4070 Ti and then lowered down another $100 for its MSRP to now be $800 instead of $900. And that was the right thing to do by Nvidia, but it was still kind of shady how they tried to do it the other way initially. Now you may be saying, well, hey, they can still just create a new card and call it the 7800 XT, lower the price, and there you go. Well, yeah, they can, but we have to look at the current market. Let me show you a little bit of what we're working with here. So first of all, the new MSRP of the 7900 XT is $799 or $800. However, you can actually find it for less than that on Newegg. It is currently selling for $779. That is brand new on Newegg. That is not an open box or anything like that. And it comes with a free game, so that adds even more value. And then if you look at AMD's previous generational offerings, the top three cards, you have the 6800 XT selling for $500. You have the 6900 XT selling for $559. And you have the 6950 XT selling for $600. So basically between the 6950 XT and the 7900 XT, you only have $200 to play with if you want to squeeze in a 7800 XT, a 7700 XT, and a 7600 XT. And that's not even including the non-XT models, assuming there would even be non-XT models. You cannot squeeze in three brand new cards with only $200 there to play with in such a way to where it even remotely makes sense. And if they were to do that, if they try to say, hey, the 7600 XT will be $600, they're not going to do that. I'm not saying they're going to do that. I'm just saying in theory, if they were to do that, that would be an absolutely awful value. And if you're asking how I know that, it's because the 7600 XT is obviously the successor to the 6700 XT. And the 6700 XT is selling right now, brand new on Newegg, for $350. And if you're willing to buy open box, you can actually buy it for less than $300. And so there's no way they're gonna basically double the price, if you will, in order to squeeze it in here. And so they obviously have to sell the card for below $600. And so now you're going to have a new generation of a card priced in between their old generation of cards, which are still selling brand new on the market right now. And so now we can all see that things are starting to become quite muddy. It is less clear how they plan to move forward. Obviously, something has to get cut along the way. And I think the thing they're going to cut is a 7800 XT. They started with the 7900 XTX and the 7900 XT. And so clearly going in the order of numbers here, the very next thing to talk about would be the 7800 XT. And even if they wanted to skip over that for whatever reason, The next thing to talk about would be the 7700 XT. After all, these are all naming conventions that are successors to their current offerings on the market. And so where is the 7700 XT? Where's the 7800 XT? There is very little information out there about these cards. But what we do have is multiple rumors confirming that AMD is planning to showcase the 7600 series of cards at Computex. And as of tonight, at the time of filming, videocards.com just uploaded a brand new tweet from Moore's Law is Dead, confirming that the 7600 XT is supposed to release on May 25th. Now, of course, take all of this with a grain of salt, but at the end of the day, all signs are pointing to the fact that AMD is skipping right over the 7800 XT and the 7700 XT and going straight to the 7600 series of cards. And so now there are multiple questions there. Will they ever showcase a 7700 XT? Will they ever release a 7800 XT? If so, when? Are they waiting for a later point in the future? Maybe when more 6000 series stock is depleted somehow? And now, speaking of the 7600 XT, where will that fall in the product line? How will it perform compared to previous generational cards? What will the pricing be? I assume the pricing of the 7600 XT will obviously be cheaper than the current offerings on the market for the 6950 XT and the 6900 XT and the 6800 XT. Will it launch with the same MSRP as the 6700 XT, which was $479? Or will it sell for a little bit less, or will it sell for a little bit more? So many questions here, right? And also, let's assume it does launch at $479. That is very close to $500. And as I mentioned earlier, you have the 6800 XT selling for $500 as well right now on Newegg. And so the question then becomes, how will the 7600 XT compare to the 6800 XT? Obviously, if someone wants to buy that card, it's gonna have to give some type of really good reason in terms of raw performance. And so I'm hoping the 7600 XT can match or beat the 6800 XT so that gamers have a really good card to go to in terms of overall value. But then if that becomes the case, the 6800 XT would then have to drop in price even further so that gamers will then find it appealing to some degree so that AMD can continue to sell that card. And so as you can see, there are so many moving pieces to the puzzle. There are so many variables to this equation, and I have more questions than I have answers. And so I just wanted to report on this and kind of present this idea out there. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think. Are we ever getting a 7800 XT or a 7700 XT? And what will the price to performance be on the 7600 XT? Will there be a non-XT model of the 7600? What will that look like? I'm very curious to know your thoughts below. I know a lot of gamers are asking for these mid-range budget GPUs to make a comeback, and this is basically the start of that. And AMD has a really good opportunity here to really win gamers over and offer a lot of price to performance and a lot of value if they don't drop the ball. And right now that's a pretty big if, but let's wait and see how things pan out. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you liked the video, do me a favor, hit that like button because it goes a long way in helping me out. If you're new, get subscribed, and until next time, E-Rock out.